Good afternoon. Regular meeting number 21 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Mitch Brown, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Frederick Lamar from Family Missionary Baptist Church, will you please lead us in prayer? Welcome back to council chambers, Pastor.
Thank you, sir. Every head is bowed, every eye is closed. Day unto day utters speech, night unto night showeth knowledge. God, who's our creator, who's our sustainer, who's our giver, everything that's good, that is perfect. Oh God, it's unto thee that we lift up our souls. Oh my God, we trust in thee to not let us be ashamed, but always look unto you. So God, in this time, God, when we come at this city council, we pray, God, that everything said, everything done, everything thought will bring you glory. We ask, amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. Pastor Lamar, it's my understanding that you also have a letter from the Baptist Ministerial Alliance. Please be seated.
Yes. We're not going to wait on the other members of the Alliance to come. We're just going to read the letter. The Baptist Ministers Alliance of Columbus Vicinity, President Tyrone Laws, First Vice President Tommy Hicklin, Second Vice President Elder Larry Price. April the 22nd, 2017, the Baptist Ministers Alliance of Columbus Vicinity was saddened to see the via video the uncalled behavior of Officer Zachary Rosen, the physical kicking in the head of a handcuffed black male lying on the ground caused serious community relation problems within the black community. Over the last couple of weeks, both the community and the Columbus Police have been working together to work through a series of shootings in our communities. Following the mayor's lead along with City Council, we have sought to better those relationships. The Baptist Ministers Alliance stand with the NAACP of Columbus, the Interdenominational Ministers Alliance of Columbus, the Central Ohio Faith Leaders, and civil rights advocacy organizations in calling for Officer Rosen's termination from office. It is our hopes that as we enter the summer months, we will work together to make Columbus live up to the motto that it's the best place to live, work, and raise a family. We hope that the motto includes those of us in the African American community as well. We will continue to lift up our communities and our police in prayer that they reflect what we all want in our communities, and that is a safe environment. Respectfully submitted, Reverend Tyrone Laws, President of the Baptist Ministerial Alliance.
Thank you, Pastor Lamar and Elder Price. And the letter is presented to City Council. Ms. Pinnell, could you grab the letter from Pastor Lamar, please? Thank you for coming down and presenting the letter, and thank you for leading us in prayer.
Thank you, Brother President. Thank you.
So in the resolution section, we do have some special guests with us this evening. They are students from Centennial High School, from the Northwest Civic Association, and their great leader, Rosemarie Lescaut. Thank you for all the great work that you do. So I would ask the council members, if you have a resolution, please present the student sitting with you and have her, because that's all female, have her maybe sit at the chair and say a little bit about themselves and where they're going to college and what they're interested in studying. So we'll start off with Councilmember Elizabeth Brown.
Thank you. I am pleased to introduce to you Rachel Massey, who's a senior at Centennial. And could you take my seat and use the microphone, please?
Hi, I'm Rachel Massey. I'm going to be studying biology at Wittenberg University next year. I'm a senior at Centennial High School. So.
Oh, there we go, Michael.
It is my honor to introduce Sarah Hagan. She will be graduating and going to Ohio State, pursuing a degree at the Fisher School in accounting, but also a PT minor, just in case she needs that business degree as she creates her business. And Sarah, I'll let you have the mic.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hagan, and you did a really good job covering everything. I'm just going to Ohio State, and I plan on opening my own physical therapy practice when I get my degree.
Thank you, President Klein. I have the honor to introduce Regina Cavan. And I'm really excited to introduce her because, one, I went to school with her father, Ronald Cavan. He went to Eastmoor. And also her uncle is Gary Cavan, who used to be the director of technology. So it's really an honor and a privilege to introduce Regina Cavan.
Thank you. My name is Regina Cavan, and I attend Centennial High School, and I'm going to be attending Miami University in the fall, majoring in business, and I wanted to go into marketing and be in professional sales once I graduate.
Well, let me introduce Sarah Abdul Rashid, Abu Rashid, from Centennial High School, and I'm going to let you do the honors.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Abu Rashid. I am a senior at Centennial High School. I'm a U.S. citizen who came from Syria 4 years ago, and I am looking forward to study international studies and politics at either Denison University or Kenyon College. Thank you.
So if we have any Denison or Kenyon grads, here's your chance to weigh in on where Sarah will be going. But congratulations to all the Centennial students. And congratulations to Centennial High School, because it's my understanding that in U.S. News and World Report, they were ranked in the top 10% high schools in the country. So I think you all have a great track record and foundation for success. So clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
This week's communications received by the city clerk's office are listed on the agenda. They'll be published in the city bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read in the record?
Not at this time.
All right. Resolutions from members of council. Councilmember Elizabeth Brown, do you have any resolutions? Councilmember Mitch Brown?
At this time, I'd like to ask Deputy Chief Whiting to please come to the podium. I have one resolution of expression this evening, Resolution 0135X2017, to declare the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2017, Arson Prevention Week in Columbus, Ohio. Deputy Chief Whiting, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, President Klein, Councilman Brown, and other esteemed colleagues of council. This week's theme is reducing residential arson. Arson is a problem nationwide, not only here in the city of Columbus. And every year we have these students, young ladies and young men, future of our country as we go forward. And our teachers, I brought two of them up with their art teachers, and I'll let them introduce themselves here in a minute. But every year we have a contest for Arson Awareness Week. And these students put together, and as you'll see, we can let the PowerPoint run, but it has their artwork that these students do. And a number of students participate. We have a judging every year, and we select a first place and a runner-up. And we're very pleased again with the work that these students do. What happens is these things get out on a billboard in their area so other students can see them from their schools. They get a banner to hang in their schools. So it brings awareness to the arson that this city has faced, as well as other cities. And it makes people aware. And I know that teachers are very dedicated, as well as the students, and it's a big commitment to do this, but it's a great opportunity for them to share their artwork in the city of Columbus and learn. It's not about just doing the pictures. They actually do research, learn, and that's what their drawings are based off of. So, you know, I'm pretty happy that the city supports this initiative. And with that, I'll let the students introduce themselves. And we can go through the slideshow if you'd like.
Hi, my name is Elijah Brandt, and I am a senior attending Eastmore Academy High School.
My name is Elsa Kriegmeyer, and I'm an 8th grader at Columbus Gifted Academy.
My name is Michelle Alder, and I'm Elsa's art teacher at the Columbus Gifted Academy.
My name is Jeffrey Nick, and I am the art teacher at Eastmore Academy. I'm Elijah Brandt's art teacher.
So my name's Tracy Brenninger. I'm with the Blue Ribbon Arson Committee. We sponsor the art contest. You'll see our signs around town posted where there may be a fire, red, white, and blue arson reward signs. There's a website, Ohio Arson Reward, where this artwork will also be shown eventually here this year. Thank the students, the Columbus Fire Department, many years of assisting with the Columbus Art Department for the school. And thank you to the students.
Council President and members of council, this particular theme of this year's Arson Awareness Week is reducing residential arson. Whereas 5% of all residential building fires were set intentionally, more than 20,000 fires annually. These fires result in over 300 deaths and over 800 injuries and over $500 million in damages. The Columbus Division of Fire is dedicated to investigating and prosecuting perpetrators of these extremely dangerous crimes, and we will use the week of May 1st through 7th to share additional information. If there are no further questions, I move for adoption.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Closing remarks, Chief Whiting.
I just want to again reiterate, thank council for their support, the city for their support. The Blue Ribbon Arson Panel has been our partner in this issue for years, and the students for the outstanding work that they do and the dedication from them and their teachers.
And for the students, we thank you all for participating. It's appreciated.
Thank you, President Klein. I want to pick up where you left off in recognizing also Centennial and Cause, who were both awarded, are nationally ranked in the U.S. Newsweek review last week. We're certainly proud of those two great Columbus City schools for their achievements, and so congratulations. I would like to invite Ms. Christine Brown and Ms. Marcy Strader from the Ohio Self-Determination Association to the podium. A couple weeks ago, Councilmember Stenziano and I attended the legislative day for the Ohio Self-Determination Association. It was an awesome event that brought together elected officials and folks who work around with these agencies to learn from folks like Ms. Christine. And so I brought her down to talk a little bit about the Legislative Action Day, and also hear from Ms. Strader as well. So with that, first I'll turn over to Councilmember Stenziano.
Thank you, Councilmember Hardin. Welcome, Christine, Marcy, I know how excited and important a couple of weeks ago were, and appreciate you taking the time to be here to share some of what we heard from so many wonderful self-advocates. I know the legislation world, policy making is constantly changing and creating challenges, and we do really appreciate your ongoing advocacy for your friends, colleagues, and the people that you work so hard to represent. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Shannon Hart and Michael Stinziano. As both of them said, my name's Christine Brown, self-advocate. I have been advocating forever, and the thing is, I serve on various committees. I'm chair of Ohio Self-Determination Association, on the Governor's Council of People with Disabilities, and also we both are on the Self-Advocate Advisory Council of Franklin County Board of DD.
Thank you, Michael Stinziano and Shannon Harding. I really appreciate it. My name is Marcy Strotter, and I'm on the Self-Advocate Advisory Council with Christine. I also work at ARC Industries, and I'm also on DD Council, and I represent the Technology Committee. I'm chair.
And so what we want to give you all is an overview of issues that got discussed that really happened at the event. First, there was 170 people statewide that came, even people as far as Erie County, most at the top. And also we had lots of self-advocates and providers and other people, including Director John Martin from Ohio Department of DD. This year actually marks the 50th anniversary of County Boards of DD that State Representative Herschel Craig gave at the event. I just wanted to let you all know that this is the 50-year anniversary of the counties. And the other issues that were discussed included what was going on in this 2-year budget for the Department of DD, and then celebrating the 5-year anniversary of the Employment First executive order that John Kasich signed in 2012. Then also in 2012 with Employment First, the focus with jobs comes higher education. I'm passionate to try to get this changed. Ohio has an issue where college students with intellectual and developmental disabilities do not have a right to access the Ohio College Opportunity Grant for students going to Ohio State, versus any regular student at Ohio State does get the right, honestly. And then the other thing that just striked everybody was this, that in Ohio, people with disabilities, developmental, physical, mental, psychological, they're getting between 2 to 4 copies of Medicaid cards in the mail right now. That's a waste of tax dollars and waste of postage when we are not going to have our lives change. We're going to stay on Medicaid, and we need to find ways of cutting costs, and they're wanting to cut services for people with DD, I saw.
And with the higher education, it was hard for me because in 2014, I started at Columbus State, and financial aid denied me, and I didn't know what would happen. And so ARC Industries gave me a scholarship. So it was really hard. So I was thankful that I did get a scholarship to go to college because I love my job at ARC Industries.
And like we all are wanting people to do, work and pay into taxes, well, can't do it without having the right support. So those were really big issues, but another thing that also came up that really was a shock was that the Vern Rife Center, the State House, and the also the 30 East Broad Street building, we now have these new security systems in. People in wheelchairs cannot get through those systems. So it's now turning into ADA violation. And we are willing to get this man who deals with this to get video recorded to show you all. Because before they added that new security of these turners and even this one system where it's like gates, goes out like this, the two, his wheelchair's too wide for even that, because wheelchairs are getting bigger and bigger every day. We need to stay up with the with all this changes and how big these wheelchairs are getting, because we need to see that it keeps moving. And so we are going to work on a video to show you all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Christine and Ms. Marcy. As you can see, Christine is a real advocate, and if anybody is out in the community, she has been out fighting the good fight on behalf of the community for many years, and I am so appreciative of her work. I have the honor of being Ms. Marcy Strawder's little cousin, so I am doubly proud of the work of these two young ladies, and am very grateful for everything that you guys do. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Council President, at this point, I would like to invite President and CEO of the Central Ohio Transit Authority, Mr. Curtis Stitt, to the podium. As many folks may know, today marks the first day of CODA's route redesign, which aims to improve efficiency and access by simplifying routes. This change will provide more frequent and consistent services for residents of Central Ohio. I asked Mr. Stitt to come down today to talk about the first day implementation, what's going on out there, and also to encourage folks that over the next several days, 7 days, I believe, this week, CODA will be free as we figure out and test out the system and learn the new routes. So with that, Mr. Curtis Stitt.
Mr. President, members of council, Councilmember Hardin, thank you for this opportunity to come and just give you a first day update on the transit system redesign. Today we launched the most significant change in our service that's occurred over the 43 years of history of providing public transportation here in Columbus and Central Ohio. This all arose because of a woman who rushed into my office 3 years ago, 2014, with a document that she had found in the archives, and it was CODA's first annual report, folded up like an old road map. And opened it up, looked at two of the panels. I looked at what the budget looked like back then, and but what struck me was the second panel that I looked at, and it was our system map. Now, 2014's system map looked almost identical to the 1974 system map, CODA's first year of providing public transit in Columbus and Central Ohio. So the question was, is this the best service we can provide today, knowing that people live different places than they lived in 74. People work different places than they worked in 74. And our community has changed so immensely over the 40 years. The intuitive answer was, no, it isn't the best service. But we didn't rest on our transit intuition. We brought in experts from around the country who examine and help other transit agencies revamp and reorganize their systems. They worked with our transit planners. They worked with the City of Columbus as the city was working on Connect Columbus. They worked with the folks at MORPC and other places who were working on Insight 2050, and there was significant input from throughout our community beginning in 2014 that continues even today. Because there's one thing we know about these service changes. They're not going to be perfect, but they are going to provide a tremendous improvement in the way that we provide public transit in our community. That's the background, and just wanted to give you a quick update. As of this hour, things have gone about as well as we expected them to go. There are a few folks who haven't been listening over the past several months, but there are a lot of folks, and I'm going to ask our folks in the back to stand up, all of our CODA employees. These are some of the members of our senior team, but everybody, from myself down to the newest employees, are out on the street today and will be the rest of this week. And some of them have been out for the last 4 weeks on the street advising people of what the changes are going to be, helping them to navigate during this tough time. And I say tough time only because change is tough for people. No matter how positive the change might be, change is tough for people, and we're trying to make the transition as smooth as possible for all of the residents who are using our service. That's the update for today. We'll be glad to come back to you over time, and because this isn't a one-day thing, this is a major change that lays the foundation upon which we will build the next generation of public transportation for Columbus and Central Ohio.
Thank you, Chair Hardin. Just two quick things. You look wonderful for someone who I heard on the radio was up at 4 o'clock this morning watching the buses roll out and then helping work with some of the people at Broaden High. So again, thank you and your team for taking the time to be here. Also appreciate the recognition that we are going to learn lessons. In particular, I know we've heard from members of the South Side, and I know your team has been committed to working with them to make sure that they have the best access. So again, congratulations on a big day to your team for as smooth as a process. I think next to an election day, this is as close to kind of that experience of having the whole community get caught up and really engage. So again, congratulations, and thank you all for being here for the update.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. I heard you on the radio talking about your plan and everyone in their CODA outfits hitting the streets and helping guide the public. And I just appreciate that. And that's really what public service is about, bending over backwards to make sure that residents can engage and, feel like the system's looking out for them. So I'm incredibly appreciative of how you've approached this and how you've recognized this trust that the public puts into CODA to help them get where they're going. And you are bending over backwards this week to make sure this change is as smooth as possible. So thank you.
It's our pleasure to serve.
President Pro Tem Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say thank you, Curtis, for your leadership, and certainly to have found the old CODA routes and said, the city has changed, and we need to look at should we change our routes to be able to better meet our community. There's some leaders who would say it's working and let's not do any changes to it because we have a lot of other things getting ready to come up with the smart cities, et cetera. But I just appreciate your leadership in doing that. I appreciate your team being here and just want to say thank you to your team that's here. I mean, they're always so responsive whenever we reach out to you, so I appreciate that. And just wish you well as you continue to move forward with this. Thank you for letting the routes be free for residents in the city this week, and I think they'll appreciate that. And just, again, thank you for your leadership.
With free service, write it as much as you can this week on us. Learn it as much as you can by writing free for a week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Curtis, before you leave, can we make it more than 1 week? No.
Come see me. I'll share my pass with you. How about
okay,
that?
that'll be fine. I think it'd be appropriate before you leave to at least say thank you for all your work over the past 18 years with CODA. You and I go back a long, long way, and I know you've already announced your retirement plans, and we'll deal with that at a later time, but I can't let you leave this body without saying thank you for your leadership for all those years. So congratulations and thank you on your retirement.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure to serve. Thank you.
We weren't trying to talk about that today because we were hoping that maybe there would be some changes going through. We all of us just tried to we'll just let that go. So thank you.
I will recede to my seat here.
Thank you, President Klein. I have one resolution this evening, and I'd like to ask Ms. Demetrius Neely, the Executive Director of the King Arts Complex, to come down to the podium, as well as Javon Collins. And as they're coming down, I have Resolution 0135X-2017 to recognize and honor the King Arts Complex for celebrating 30 years of providing outstanding programs, culture, and service to the community. I will allow Mrs. Neely to go into more about the King Arts Center, what they will be doing to celebrate the 30th anniversary. But before doing so, if there are no initial questions or comments, I would like to move for adoption.
Brown, Harden, Page, Denziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, President Neely.
Thank you so much, President Klein, members of council. Thank you for having us here this evening. You know, 30 years is a long time, 3 decades, almost half my lifetime. I'm not 60, but close, so almost half my lifetime. But we are excited to be here this evening because this brings it full circle, because the way we got here is City Council. Under the leadership of Jerry Hammond, president at that time, City Council passed through legislation back in the 80s to start what was then known as the King Center, now the King Arts Complex. And for 30 years, we've had tremendous support from mayors and city council members. So I want to thank you for always supporting us and for starting this, because without the City Council and the legislation being passed through, I was speaking earlier with Mr. Hugh Dorian, and he said, yeah, I remember that, because he was part of getting this legislation passed through. So thank you so much for 30 years of helping us make a difference in the community. You know, we're a resource for the community. We're a community center. We provide artistic excellence, and many say, but for the King Arts Complex, many would not experience the arts. And we know the transformative nature of the arts. So we're very proud of what we've been doing. I've been there 18 years, not in this seat, but 11 years on the board and almost 7 years in this seat. And Javon's been there probably close to 11, soon to be 12. So if you put our time together, we've been there 30 years. So anything that's wrong, we probably get the blame. But anything that's good, we'll take that credit too. But I'd like to have Javon say a few words, because Javon is the Performing Arts Director doing an extraordinary job.
President Klein, I want to thank the entire council here today for that great honor. But as we're honoring 30 years into Demetrius's great leadership, it's truly an honor to be at the King Arts Complex, to travel the country, to talk about the great things in our city of Columbus, Ohio. So thank you all, and we hope to see you at our 30th anniversary gala on Saturday, May 20th.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Are there any additional comments? Thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
President Pro Tem Tyson has a guest that needs to leave shortly, so I'm going to go to President Pro Tem Tyson.
Thank you, President Klein, and thank you, Councilman Stenziano. Life Care Alliance. This evening, I'd like to the representatives of Life Care Alliance, headed by President and CEO Mr. Chuck Gehring, or Charles Chuck Gehring, Vice President of Advancement Ms. Keisha Salon, and Communications Director Ms. Michelle Jones, to come to the podium to present a special award to the members of Columbus City Council. Life Care Alliance was founded in 1898, and they're in their 119th year of operation. They serve more than 1,500 people annually. They serve meals 365 days of each year. They were the second city in the United States to begin delivering meals to homes in Columbus. They're ranked fifth in leading Meals on Wheels provider in the country, and they do not have a waiting list. And so, thank you for all that you do in our community. And Chuck, the floor is yours.
Thank you, council members. We'd like to present you all with the Elected Official Award that we give each year to an elected official. In fact, some years we don't even present this award because we don't think there's anyone quite ready for it. But we have had a wonderful partnership with the City of Columbus, especially City Council now, for many, many years. And if you are not aware of this, and some of the folks watching this probably are not aware of this, we are probably the only large city out of the top 50 population centers in the United States that are able to offer Meals on Wheels service to people under senior age, which is under age 60, who have a severe medical challenge. And every study ever done shows that meals and proper nutrition are the #1 reason people are able to remain in their own home, independent, on their own, and great citizens of our community. And I think that's exceptional. And I can tell you that for the last 15 years, due to the partnership with the City of Columbus and City Council, not one person who qualified for Meals on Wheels under age 60 with a severe medical illness was turned away or denied the service, which is an exceptional thing. Not only, again, we're probably the only city in this country with that record, which makes us the only city in the world with that record. So thank you very much, and we appreciate all you do for us. Thank you.
And in your office, okay. And lastly, we will be hosting a hearing on the 2017 capital budget on Thursday, May the 4th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. The Finance Department Director, Joe Lombardi, will present an overview, and department directors will highlight their key projects. Public testimony will be accepted. Anyone wishing to address City Council on this matter must fill out a speaker slip before 5 p.m. on the day of the hearing, which is Thursday, and the meeting will be broadcast live on CTV, the Columbus Government Television Channel 3. Thank you. That's all I have in my announcements.
Thank you, President Klein. Tonight, I have announcement, presentation, then a resolution. So I'd like at this time to invite Ms. Ava Johnson from the Greater Southeast Area Commission and students from Independence High School, who will, Ms. Johnson will introduce those students, and you'll hear some very passionate students. I had the opportunity when I was attending at the Area Commission to see a presentation, and then really appreciated Councilmember Hardin, along with representatives from the Department of Public Utilities and Public Service, meeting with these students who, as you'll learn, are very passionate about their neighborhood and school. They are concerned about student safety and came to the city for help in getting sidewalks and streetlights near the high school. Do want to really appreciate all the students, and I know it's only a few of you today, other commitments, but your ongoing engagement to see your community that much more improved, and your passion and desire for an even better school experience. So with that, Ms. Johnson.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Cinciano, President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, Councilmember Brown, Hardin, Page, and Cinciano. We thank you all for listening to us this evening. I'm here representing the Greater Southeast Area Commission as a chair, but also as honorary member of the Independence High School community. These students that you're going to hear this evening have done a wonderful job doing research. They have been involved in civic engagement. And as Councilmember Cinciano said, they did come to our February 28th commission meeting and presented, did a fantastic job. As you probably know, Independence High School was almost closed back in 2014, and the school has fought vigorously to bring the school back as far as enrollment and great programming. I'm here this evening, and I don't have all the students with me, but I have worked with Shiana Hinkle-Moore, I think she's here this evening, and Naziera Jones, and a couple other members of the team are Ashel Gaston and Shamir Chung, along with their advisors, who are just wonderful, Mr. Watson and Mrs. Daya. The recommendations that you're going to hear this evening affect the Greater Southeast Area Commission. Independence High School is located on Refugee Road. It's about 131,000 square feet. So when we were at the point where we were getting ready to lose the school, it was very scary to us as community members, because anytime there's an open building, that's just a call for vandalism and crime. So the community came out, we fought back, but we need help from City Council based on their recommendations to increase the enrollment. And one of the things they're going to talk about is a sidewalk project. I would also like to include, we need better lighting in the area. So we know your budgets in utilities and in the streets, it's not a lot, but we're hoping that you will consider the recommendations and somehow make this a priority. So again, we thank you for listening to the students. They've done a wonderful job. Hopefully they'll have a seat as a city council person in the future. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and hopefully you'll listen to the recommendations and move promptly. Thank you.
My name is Naziar Jones, and
I am Shayana Hinklemore.
Our problem is that there are not consistent sidewalks for Liberty and independent students and those who may travel through the community barefoot. That's elementary students and high school students as well.
Within this project, there are certain things that we have already accomplished. One is that we presented this project to the Southeast Area Commission, and we've gotten their support. Secondly, Ms. Ava Johnson came with us, and we actually walked the streets and drove down the street so we could see where there were sidewalk and where there was not sidewalk. And we also met with council members Hardin and Cinziano, as well as some other city officials who specialize in public safety and things like that, to discuss our project and certain things that we've done.
The solution to this problem is that there is clearance, one, funding, two, three, traffic engineers, and because of the expense for sidewalks that we were, given when we met with them, we were wondering if maybe blacktop would have been, is that right? Blacktop would have been an option for that instead of sidewalks because of the costly expense of that. I think that's about it.
Well, thank you both and your classmates that weren't able to be here for your ongoing engagement. Was there more?
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot. These are three pictures of our street. That's Refugee Road, and as you can see on the second picture, I'm sorry it's so small, but there is a sidewalk, and then on the third picture, there isn't a sidewalk anymore on both sides. It's just it's not there. On the on the first picture, there is you can see where the street and the grass kind of meet, and that's where students are walking to get to school, to and from school, and even on the weekends just to be in the neighborhood. And that's it.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Hard.
Thank you, Councilmember Cinziano, and thank you again for your presentation. When we met, I was, I think like Councilmember Cinziano, really impressed with the level of work that you have done on this project. You presented a solid rationale for future investment, and I thought we said we would listen, and we said that we would give you some feedback, and so I don't know if we'll do it now, but maybe we'll have the Department of Public Service follow up with you afterwards. I think there are some things that we can report back based off of our meeting.
President Pro Tem Tyson.
Thank you. I want to say to the two of you and your team, absolutely, it's wonderful to see young women being involved in their community and bringing, recognizing problems and coming to us and working and coming up with a solution and bringing those solutions to us. So one, I appreciate your leadership in your community, and as we're looking at the capital budget, as we're doing right now, certainly this would be capital expenditures, and so these are things that we need to know about and hear from our community. So thank you for your leadership, and I know you're working with two fine council members who will be advocating on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want more?
No.
You're ready to be done.
No.
As Councilmember Hardin and President Pro Tem Tyson have mentioned, I do, the advocacy has been important, and I know we've been working with the departments to work on a solution, both short-term and long-term. So thank you all for your ongoing commitment to make sure your neighborhood is that much more special, and for recognizing a problem that we can help address. So thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you. Okay, sweet.
Next, I would like to invite Michaela Meacham, Program Coordinator at the National Institute for Civil Discourse, to the podium as I introduce Resolution 0136X-2017 to recognize and declare May 2017 as Revive Civility Month in the City of Columbus. Recently, the annual nationwide Civility in America survey results were released. And in the aftermath of last fall's election, the American people were pretty much united in one thing, in their belief that that campaign was, and our culture is somewhat falling towards being uncivil. 79% of Americans agreed that the 2016 presidential election was uncivil. A record high, 69% of Americans believe that the United States has a major civility problem, with 75% saying incivility has risen to crisis levels. While 97% of Americans say it's important for the U.S. president to be civil, nearly 6 in 10 Americans expect civility to get worse in the next few years. So it's clear that we need to find a path forward, and it's also clear that a path forward will require Americans, maybe some young students, to begin listening and engaging with one another again. Meaningful change, I think we all can recognize, does take real leadership and requires not only a local but nationwide effort. So the National Institute for Civil Discourse was created for the purpose of reviving and restoring civility to achieve a higher level of public discourse, because community members should feel comfortable and respected while exploring worldviews outside of their own. I had the opportunity to be introduced to the Institute through a former colleague, Ted Celeste, who's been a very active member not only in Ohio but across the country. So that's why I'm proud that this council will hereby proclaim May 2017 to be Revised Civility Month and encourage our citizens to exercise civility and respect towards each other this month and beyond. Before I move for passage, do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll move for adoption.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Michaela, the podium's yours.
Great. Thank you, Councilman Stenziano and the rest of City Council. We're really excited to have this pass here in Columbus, Ohio. We've also have a dozen other cities around the nation who are doing this as well in May, and then we'll have another round happen in September. And the point of this resolution isn't just to have a one and done to say, yes, we think this is important, and then we stop there. It's actually to be part of a sustained effort to revive civility and respect across our nation. And so one of the states that NICD is focusing on is Ohio, so we'll be spreading this message that the resolution presents, as well as actual citizen engagement tools throughout the state and the nation eventually. And the way that we're doing that is through a series of these resolutions and then with tangible actions that citizens can take, some of them being community conversations. It seems fitting to present this tonight in the light of so many community issues coming to you all. Of course, you're used to that. But what we're hoping is that we'll actually have some more of that from these community conversations, where we would look to teach some tools of listening and trying to understand rather than just refuting and arguing, and then that they can come together on issues that they would like to address as communities. So thank you very much for kicking this off and being the starter for this campaign, and we look forward to what is to come from it. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your patience and for being here. President Klein, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Stenziano. Are there any comments by our elected officials, Auditor Dorian, Treasurer's Office, City Attorney's Office? I don't see any representative from the Municipal Court here. Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of ordinances or resolutions from the consent action portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk? Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, Clerk Blevins. Will you now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee, Ordinance 907-2017. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinances 730 and 1021-2017. Economic Development Committee, Ordinances 1079 and 1092-2017. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 972, 988, 1030, and 1078-2017. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinances 969 and 983-2017. Technology Committee, Ordinance 596-2017. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 543, 814, 881, 921, 943, 944, 979, and 1035-2017. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee, Ordinances 495, 737, and 1036-2017. Rules and Reference Committee, Ordinance 1621-2016. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 167-2017 and 1085-2017.
Thank you, Clerk. The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent. Please read the ordinance numbers of each into the record.
Resolutions of expression 130X, 131X, 133, and 134X-2017. Finance Committee ordinances 327, 555, 809, 826, 848, 865, 886, 888, 1011, and 1059-2017. Health and Human Services Committee ordinances 612, 891, 895, 902, and 1014-2017. Economic Development Committee ordinances 952, 1017-2017. Environment Committee ordinances 909, 910, and 987-2017. Public Safety Committee ordinances 671, 789, 883, 975, and 1031-2017. Public Service and Transportation Committee Resolution 91X-2017, ordinances 867, 884, 885, 900, 901, 906, 935, 981, 992, 1054, 1056, 1072, and 1084-2017. Neighborhoods Committee, ordinance 1007-2017. Recreation and Parks Committee, ordinances 625, 889, 989, and 1004-2017. Housing Committee ordinances 912, 964, 965, 968, 995, and 1123-2017. Technology Committee ordinances 961 and 1016-2017. Public Utilities Committee ordinances 673, 719, 761, 794, 797, 807, 822, 824, 838, 894, 927, 985, and 1012-2017. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee ordinances 703, 704, 782, 783-2017. Appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0050, 52, 54, 55, 56, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, and 79-2017.
Thank you, Clerk. We do have one speaker on the consent action portion. It's Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins. He's speaking in favor of 965, 2017. Welcome back to council, Mr. Wilkins.
(1612) Arlington Avenue, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins, the chairman of the vacant property in North Linden area. I want to know what's going to happen with 2271 Joyce Avenue. I want to know how long it has been in the land bank and what would this property be used for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Director Shoney, if you could report back to Mr. Wilkins and answer his question, we would appreciate it. Are any questions or comments about the consent action portion of the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion for passage of all those items designated as consent? Clerk, call the roll by voice.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Hardin? Page? Stenziano? Tyson?
Yes, with the exception of 0612-2017, on which I am abstaining.
President Klein?
Yes, consent action portion carries, and we'll now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled emergency legislation. The first committee is the Finance Committee, is chaired by President Pro Tem Tyson.
Thank you,
President Pro Tem Tyson. The floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. The first is Resolution 0129X-2017. It's to accept the Capital Improvements Program 2017 through 2022 as described herein as the primary guide for the future improvements budget ordinances and to declare an emergency. I will move to table indefinitely.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. The next ordinance is ordinance number 1127-2017. It's to adopt a capital improvements budget for the 12 months ending December 31st of 2017 or until such a time as a new capital improvements budget is adopted, establishing a project budget for capital improvements requiring legislative authorization in 2017, to repeal ordinance number 0960-2016 as amended and to declare an emergency. I move to table indefinitely.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. I'd now like to move to Health and Human Services. Thank you. Of ordinance number 0728-2017 to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a reproductive health and wellness program grant from the Ohio Department of Health, to authorize the appropriation of $813,000 in grant money and fee revenues from the unappropriated balance of the Health Department's grants fund, and to declare an emergency. This money will allow for women's health services, including family planning. Eligible patients include women from Columbus Public Health Women's Health Services Program at postpartum, and women who have had a negative pregnancy test through our walk-in pregnancy testing. In last year, from April 1st of 16 through February 28th of 2017, 2,772 client visits were completed, and a number of pregnancy tests, cervical cancer screening, vaccines, HIV tests, and then the long-acting methods of birth control, IUDs and implants. We also have well women exams and preventative health care, PAP, HPV testing, mammograms, preconception health services and reproductive life plans, basic infertility services and counseling for men and women, and screening and treatment for sexually transmitted diseases for men and women, and risk assessment and education, and also screening for tobacco use, along with intervention for tobacco cessation. And also people can receive social service linkages, including assistance with insurance enrollment. And I would ask my colleagues for their support, so I move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 0754-2017 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish a purchase order with Sanofi Pasteur for the purchase of Fluzone influenza virus vaccines from Columbus Public Health, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the City Code, and to authorize the expenditure of $73,580.70 from the Health Special Revenue Fund to pay the cost thereof, and to declare an emergency. Dr. Long, can you please share why we are waiving competitive bidding on this ordinance?
Council President Pro Tem, President Klein, members of council, absolutely. This is an important ordinance for us to try and move forward with your support. This will allow us to pre-book vaccine. Everyone is doing it right now, all the healthcare providers. And one of the reasons why, well, the reason why we would ask your consideration about allowing us to pre-book with Sanofi Pasteur is that they are the one vendor that has been reliable as far as being able to both pre-book and be able to get delivery in the fall when it's needed. We have had experience with other vendors and they have not come through in the past, so we are very interested in being able to, at the reasonable price, be able to pre-book vaccine and then be able to know that we will get it and be able to administer it to low-income and uninsured Columbus residents in the fall.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Seeing no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. The last ordinance I have in my committees this evening is ordinance number 1005-2017. It's to authorize the appropriation of $150,000 in the West Side Community Fund, to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a contract with the Lower Lights Christian Health Center, to authorize the expenditure of $150,000 from the West Side Community Fund to support the development of a not-for-profit grocery store and cafe located at 1160 West Broad Street in Franklinton, and to declare an emergency. I'm just really excited about this piece of legislation. First of all, I just want to say that the dollars for this ordinance is coming from really the $5 million that from the $2 million from the West Side Fund and $2.5 million from the West Side Fund and $2.5 million from the City of Columbus. When, as part of the consent order and settlement agreement between the City of Columbus and Penn National Gaming, the parties agreed to create the West Side Community Fund. And so through this fund, individuals that are, organizations that are on the West Side can then write a grant to receive dollars for services for the West Side. And so the West Side Fund will be used again for a variety of projects surrounding the casino, but not limited to job training, minority affairs, and economic development or other capital projects. So this ordinance is for the Lower Lights Christian Health Center, and it will provide improved food access, which I'm excited about, on the west side of Columbus. With its current location at 1160 West Broad Street, a 5,000 square foot not-for-profit grocery store and cafe will be developed. In addition to providing access to locally grown fresh produce and other grocery items, Lower Lights anticipates providing 15 jobs of livable wages to residents. Additionally, people will be allowed to pay based on their income. So this is just a wonderful addition to the West Side. This particular federally qualified health center sees over 15,000 people each year. And so to be able to provide the healthcare services, and then because there's so many illnesses that eating the proper foods will be helpful in terms of their overall health care, the quality of their health care, this store would just be able to add great value to the community. And with that, oh, okay, thank you very much. Are there any comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, then I am calling for first of all, I move for passage by a voice vote. Second. Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Brown? Yes. Mr. Brown? Yes. Hardin? Yes. Page? Yes. Stenziano? Yes. President Klein? Tyson?
Yes, the ordinance is passed. Thank you.
Any other legislation, President Pro Tem Tyson? All right, thank you. The next committee is the Economic Development Committee. It's chaired by Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. Tonight in Economic Development, we have Ordinance 0887-2017 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a downtown office incentive agreement with the Oneida Group, Incorporated, as provided in Resolution 0088X-2007. The Oneida Group is a marketer of tabletop and food preparation products. They sell everything from plates and glasses to cookware and storage containers. Oneida is seeking to relocate its corporate headquarters from Lancaster to an office space in downtown Columbus to support projected growth and future employee recruitment. Oneida will retain and relocate 56 existing positions with an estimated annual payroll of almost $7.5 million. This ordinance authorizes a downtown office incentive equal to 50% of Columbus's income tax withholdings for new employees on their Columbus payroll for a term of up to 5 consecutive years. The agreement is in consideration of new investment of approximately $2.2 million into the new corporate headquarters site and the creation of 26 new full-time permanent positions whose salaries will range from $50,000 to $320,000 annually. Director Shoney, I know that you and your shop worked closely with this company on this project and this attraction effort. Could you provide a little more detail?
Thank you, Chair Brown, President Klein, members of council. We did. The company has long been headquartered in Lancaster. This was, to be honest with you, this was a difficult one for us because as good community partners, we did not go seeking this out, but it was a situation where the company is a global company. They felt the need to be able to attract talent and have access to their markets and have their customers have access to them. And so they had made a decision that they were going to move the corporate headquarters. They had a couple of other locations around the country that they were looking at. We were fortunate enough to have space available in the old Columbia Gas Building on the river. They found that space attractive, great place to attract workforce. And so we were happy to keep them in the region. We did follow our normal policy of not incentivizing jobs that are moving within the region on this. But we're excited to keep them. They'll be another great corporate citizen within our community, and they will maintain their manufacturing operations in Lancaster, so they will still maintain that presence there.
Thanks, Director Shoney. And I know you spoke with officials in Lancaster throughout the project. This was not something that came as a surprise. And
yeah, my team, it was actually my team that spoke with them, but we spoke with them repeatedly to let them know where we were, what we were offering, and so that we were really operating as good neighbors.
Great. Thank you, Director. Are there any questions? President Pro Tem Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Just want to say congratulations to Director Shoney. I am excited that with our beautiful waterfront that we certainly don't have an empty building there, and so glad that they have selected that as their corporate office, and that's great. And certainly, you know, the average salaries on these jobs is pretty significant, which is what we want in our community. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Chairman Brown.
Thank you. Any other questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, President Klein. That's all I have in economic development, but I was wondering if I could move to rules and reference. I have one piece of legislation there on the final page of the agenda. Thank you, President Klein. In rules and reference tonight, I'm sponsoring ordinance 0977-2017 along with Councilmember Page. The ordinance is to amend sections 703.24, 709.01, and 709.03 of the Columbus City Code to order to remove milkweed from the list of noxious weeds and to clarify the exception for the growth of noxious weeds when used for agricultural or horticultural purposes. This change will help support local pollinators, especially monarch butterflies, who only lay their eggs on milkweed plants. The idea for this ordinance actually came to us, was brought to our attention by the wonderful advocacy of a resident who's here tonight, Ms. Harry Ruiz. I have, through her, learned so much about the importance of pollinators and the dedicated group of individuals in Columbus who are committed to the cultivation of native plants such as milkweed. As chair of the Environment Committee, I held a public hearing at the Franklin Park Conservatory on April 5th to discuss the ordinance. And I was so pleased to see many, many enthusiasts at that hearing expressing their support for making this common sense change. I want to thank each and every one of them tonight for their advocacy and dedication to the environment and the sustainability of our community. We heard at that hearing that milkweed was originally on Columbus's list of prohibited plants due to its classification on Ohio's list at the time. It has since been removed from Ohio's list. And milkweed was originally on Ohio's list due to its ability to make cows sick after consuming large quantities. Clearly, this is not an applicable concern to most Columbus residents today. So passage of this ordinance also helps fulfill Mayor Ginther's commitment to the Ohio Pollinator Habitat Initiative and the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Pledge, which commits Columbus to taking actions that increase habitats for pollinator species, such as the monarch butterfly. This change will bring Columbus in line with the national movement to support pollinators by encouraging the cultivation of milkweed plants. It will also help support local pollinators of all kinds, which will in turn help increase the vibrancy and diversity of local plants and flowers in Columbus. We have two speakers on this ordinance tonight. I'd first like to invite to the podium Ms. Harry Ruiz. If you could come up, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address before speaking. And Ms. Ruiz was at our public hearing, and also at the hearing we had milkweed plants on display. We had an opportunity for residents to sign up to get free milkweed plants, so that we were really making a concerted effort together as a community to get more milkweed plants planted around the city. Ms. Ruiz.
Thank you. President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, and council members. Good evening. My name is Harry Ruiz. I live in Columbus and have been gardening organically for more than 25 years. For the past few years, I have intentionally invited caterpillars, butterflies, and other pollinators and wildlife into my gardens by planting native trees, shrubs, and perennials. My 2 young next-door neighbors visit my gardens daily to search for eggs, caterpillars, chrysalises, and butterflies to identify. Their faces shine when they relate to me what and how many they've found. They understand the monarch population has been decimated by loss of habitat, pesticides, and weather events during migration, and they are concerned. But monarch butterflies aren't the only creatures that depend on milkweeds. Milkweeds provide food or shelter for an array of insects, including nectar-seeking bees, flies, and butterflies, and specialist herbivores such as seed bugs, longhorn beetles, and leaf beetles. And the relationship between milkweeds and insects is not one-sided. Milkweeds depend on insects for their pollination. So Council members Elizabeth Brown and Jiza Page, thank you for sponsoring this change to the city ordinance to allow residents to grow milkweeds, a plant monarchs depend on to fulfill their life cycle. This change is the beginning of what I hope will be sustained interest and action on the city's part to nurture and live in harmony with nature. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Ms. Ruiz. Next, we have Ms. Pamela Unger. If you could please approach the microphone. You know the drill, 3 minutes.
President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, council members, I am thrilled to be here tonight on the subject of milkweeds. I sent you all a picture of my front yard that my husband deemed the murder of the lawn project because of the rampant growth of plants that I would call flowers. I heard a definition long ago that a weed is simply a plant for which no one has found another use. We do know the other use of milkweeds. Monarch butterflies are part of our national heritage. And because they do feed only on the milkweed plant, it is really in our interest in protecting our national heritage to protect the milkweed. I don't believe in coincidences, but you can imagine my astonishment when I went to my Salem community organization meeting last Tuesday night and found that our speaker was a passionate volunteer to discuss the monarch and the mayor's pollinator initiative. She knew a great deal about monarchs. She was a little less knowledgeable about milkweeds because she kept referring to the native milkweed, the common milkweed, as being ugly and invasive. I hasten to assure my neighbors, even those who are less than enamored of my front yard, that the milkweed is not invasive. It is a hardy plant. It adapts itself readily to its environment. And far from being ugly, although it can, when happy, grow probably 6 to 8 feet tall, it can find a place in anybody's garden. It doesn't have to hide in my side yard now. It can come out into the open where I hope more caterpillars will find it. It has the most exquisite scent. I don't even know what to compare it to. But if you plant a milkweed anywhere that you pass daily, you will be attracted to it along with the pollinators, I promise you. So I would like to thank Councilwoman Brown, Councilwoman Page, particularly for this long overdue amendment to the city's code. I assured, or actually I didn't, I bit my tongue at the last minute. I wanted to assure the last code inspector who visited me about my yard that last I checked, there were no rampant bands of raging Holsteins in the neighborhood. But whatever the reason, I'm glad that the milkweed is no longer on that list. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Unger. At our hearing, we had code enforcement there to sort of talk about their process and how this works for them. And I didn't know, Director Shoney, if you wanted to add anything. You don't feel that you need to, as our speakers were eloquent on the subject, but if you want to add anything, you may. Okay. Thank you, Director Shoney. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. That's all I have in my committees, President Klein.
Thank you, Chair Brown. Our next committee is Public Safety. It's chaired by Councilmember Mitch Brown. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Legislation ordinance number 09252017 to amend and transfer funds within the Department of Public Safety's 2016 capital improvement budget to authorize and direct the Director of Finance and Management to issue a purchase order for HM Company for the purchase of commercial laundry equipment for the Division of Fire Training Bureau, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code on line 1, to expend $50,485 from the Safety Voted Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. This laundry equipment will aid our firefighters in making sure that their turnout gear is cleaned thoroughly and help minimize their continued exposure to harmful carcinogenic chemicals. Assistant Director Stewart, would you comment on the request for waiver of the competitive bidding and any other comments on this legislation, please?
Yes, sir. Council President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, other members of council. Councilmember Brown, this, I'm advised that this was not waived, but actually in March 2nd of 2017, an RFP had been submitted. It was opened on March 2nd, 2017. There was only one person who responded to the bid, and that's the bid. That's the person who received it. I'm advised that, as you indicated, with proper cleaning of fire equipment, turnout gear, other pieces of equipment, it reduces and relieves carcinogens and improves the possible health of firefighters. I'm also advised that there is no city code that relates to an RFP process other than professional services. That's why it was waived.
If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Also, we have ordinance 1094-2017 to authorize the Finance and Management Director to enter into a contract with CDL Government LLC for the option to purchase video storage equipment to be used by the Division of Police, as well as associated accessories, software, maintenance, and support, to waive the competitive bidding requirement of City Code Chapter 329, to authorize the expenditure of $1 to establish the contract from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. Director Stewart.
Again, President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, council members, this bid request, we had eight people respond, or 8 responses to this bid request. The committee honed that down to 4, and after looking at all of the submittals, they picked one company, which was CDW Government LLC, and a waiver of the RFP process again was done again because of there's no proviso for anything other than professional services.
This system is different from the system utilized for dash cam video. It's important for everyone to be aware of that. There's no human intervention in the uploading and storing of the body-worn camera video footage. Officers do not have the ability to delete any of the footage, and all footage will be stored at the DOT storage facility managed and operated by the DOT staff. Director Orb, would you have any comments?
Surely, President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, Chairperson Brown, members of council, with regard to ongoing storage of both body-worn camera video and dash camera video, our goal is always to prevent the inadvertent loss of data. The city's new system will expand our ability to recover data if such a loss were to occur in the future. We're doing this by expanding the city's backup and archival of video data in the new system, essentially extending our retention periods. And our new system will also give the city the ability to store archived and secure data in an off-site location should the need arise to do so.
If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Legislation passes.
That's all we have in public safety.
Thank you, Chair Brown. I think it is about time for zoning. We're going to do a natural break here before we get into public service and transportation, Chair Hardin. So if I can get a motion to recess regular meeting number 21. It's been moved and seconded eagerly by my colleagues. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
We stand in recess in 21 and we'll start zoning momentarily. Regular meeting number 22 will now come to order. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Are there any communications and reports received by the city clerk?
Not at this time.
How about first readings of 30-day legislation?
Not at this time.
We'll now proceed to the zoning committee. All members serve on that committee. Councilmember Jiza Page chairs that committee. Chair Page, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. Before beginning the zoning agenda, I'll briefly explain the rules of council as pertaining to speaking before council on zonings and variances. We permit 3 speakers on each side, 3 proponents and 3 opponents, and we ask that they limit their remarks to 3 minutes on each side. And we provide an opportunity for rebuttal from the applicant. On the advice of the city attorney's office, I ask that anyone here this evening who wishes to speak either for or against any council variance, including staff, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. I swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Please answer, I will. I will. Thank you. Our first variance this evening is 1022-2017 to rezone 5806 North Hamilton Road, 43230, being approximately 13.86 acres located on the east side of North Hamilton Road, approximately 667 feet north of Preserve Boulevard from LARO Limited Apartment Office District to CPD, Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is the New Albany Company, LLC. The proposed use is a commercial development. The City Department's recommendation is approval. Northland Community Council's recommendation is approval. Are there any additional comments from staff? Thank you. Is the applicant present? I do not see the applicant. I would first like to move to amend this variance to emergency.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, and I now move for passage as amended.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. Variance 1027-2017 to rezone 5800 Central College Road, 43054, being approximately 4.81 acres located on the north side of Central College Road, approximately 310 feet east of Harlem Road, from R Rural District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District and PUD4 Planned Unit Development District. The applicant is 5800 Central College, LLC. The proposed use is a daycare and single-unit dwellings. The City Department's recommendation is approval. Rocky Fork Blacklick Accord Implementation Panel's recommendation is approval. Are there any additional comments from staff? Thank you. Is the applicant present? Would you like to make any additional comments? Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, I first move to waive second reading.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. Now I move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
And our final variance this evening is 1043-2017, to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3332.039 R4 Residential Districts, 3321.05 A2 and B2 Vision Clearance, and 3332.21 C and D Building Lines of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1474 Fairview Avenue, 43212, to permit 3 single-unit dwellings on 1 lot with reduced development standards in the R4 Residential District. The applicant is Terry O'Keefe. The proposed use is 3 single-unit dwellings on 1 lot. The City Department's recommendation is approval. 5th by Northwest Area Commission's recommendation is approval. Are there any additional comments from staff? Is the applicant present? Yes. I believe there is a request to amend this variance to emergency. If you could speak briefly on that. Mr. Perry, come to the podium, please. Yes.
Good evening, President Klein and all council members. My name is Dave Perry. I'm the agent for Terry O'Keefe on this application. I have submitted an application or a request for emergency amendment, and I was on time for the wrong deadline for the emergency amendment. I was working on the Friday schedule and didn't realize that it had changed to Wednesday. The request to amend is Mr. O'Keefe is moving along quickly with the project. The stormwater plan is well along through the city review processes, and he is anxious to be under construction. I believe we can have building permits in less than the 30-day waiting period if you're inclined to amend this to emergency. Otherwise, he'll need to wait longer.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. If there are no questions or comments, I would first like to move to amend this variance to emergency.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, and I now move for passage as amended.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, and that's all we have in zoning this evening.
Thank you, Chair. Any other business to come before the Zoning Committee? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn regular meeting number 22? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
We stand adjourned on 22, and we will resume 21 momentarily. Can I get a motion to reconvene regular meeting number 21? Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
We stand reconvened in regular meeting number 21. The next committee is Public Service and Transportation, is chaired by Council Member Harden. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. This evening in Public Service and Transportation, we have Ordinance 0674-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Service to modify and increase an existing contract with Recollect Systems, Inc., and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of Columbus City Code, and to authorize the expenditure of $11,666.65 from the general fund. This legislation modifies an existing contract the Department of Public Service and Transportation has with Recollect Systems. Recollect provides the city with an online platform to communicate with residents about its refuse, recycling, and yard waste programs. This contract allows users to perform and address searches to determine collection dates and to receive alerts and collection day reminders via telephone and email. We are looking to waive competitive bid on this contract because switching to another service provider would require that the company do duplicative work performed by Recollect already. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Brown, Harden, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. Next, I have Ordinance 1006-2017 to amend the 2016 capital improvement budget to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation between projects within the Streets and Highways Bonds Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into agreement with ODOT relative to the FRA 7014.56 Project 2G, or the Grant Avenue Bridge over I-70 project, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,391,214.51 from the Streets and Highways Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into agreement with the and to provide funding to the Ohio Department of Transportation for the improvements to the Grant Bridge over I-70. This emergency action is requested to allow ODOT to maintain the planned construction schedule and to promote highway safety. This project is in partnership with our partners at Children's Hospital and look for the barrels that go along with it, but this is a good, solid infrastructure improvement along Grant and Livingston Avenue. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
And lastly, I have ordinance 1026-2017 to authorize the city attorney to file complaints in order to immediately appropriate and accept the remaining fees, simple and lesser real estate necessary to timely complete the Sullivan-Georgesville Camp Chase Trail Connector Public Improvement Project and to declare an emergency. This ordinance pays a little less than $3,000 to an adjacent property owner in order to complete the Sullivan-Georgesville Camp Chase Trail Connector. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, President Klein. That's all I have in my committee this evening.
Thank you, Chair Harden. The next committee is Recreation and Parks. It's chaired by Councilmember Page. Chair Page, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. This evening in the Recreation and Parks, we have Ordinance 0914-2017 to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to enter into contract with Liberty Farm to provide horseback riding instruction for CRPD summer camp, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to set up an auditor certificate to establish purchase orders for the 2017 budget year, to authorize the expenditure of $21,600 from the Recreation and Parks Operating Fund. With this legislation, we will be able to provide 3 one-week horseback riding sessions at Liberty Farm for campers ages 6 to 12. There will be 10 campers each week for a maximum of 30 campers over the 3-week period. I think that this is a great program. I know a lot of our young people are excited about learning how to horseback ride. That's not something that you typically see within the city of Columbus. So I urge you all for your support, and I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
0971-2017 to authorize and direct the Director of Recreation and Parks to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Education in the amount of $2,500,000 for the 2017 Summer Food Program, to authorize the appropriation of $2,500,000 to the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund 2283, to enter into an agreement with Columbus City Schools in the amount of $2,360,000 for the preparation and delivery of meals for the summer food program, and to authorize the expenditure of $2,360,000 from the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund 2283, and to declare an emergency. I am co-sponsoring this ordinance with Councilmember Stenziano and President Pro Tem Tyson. Again, we know that a lot of our young people unfortunately suffer from food insecurity, not only during the school year, but through the summer. And with this program, we will be able to provide actually over 500,000 meals between breakfast, lunch, and snacks. So if there are no further questions or comments, I move for passage.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
0980-2017 to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to spend funds from the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department's voted bond fund to acquire in good faith 53.5 acres, more or less, parcel of real estate located at 4625 Westerville Road, Columbus, Ohio. To authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to enter into any necessary agreements as approved by the City Attorney to complete the acquisition and to contract for associated professional services, to amend the 2016 capital improvements budget and transfer funding within the Recreation and Parks voted bond fund, to authorize the expenditure of $2,020,000 from the Recreation and Parks voted bond fund, and to declare an emergency. Are there any additional comments from Director?
Chair Page, President Klein, and members of council, we're just very excited that this property became available. It's a huge green space up in an area that our master plan has told us that we don't have enough green space. We have looked at this in the past. It recently became available, and we're lucky that we could jump on this and purchase it. We're going to be building a connector to the Alum Creek Trail on the southern boundary of this. There's a protected stream corridor on the northern boundary of this property. And then, of course, a series of soccer fields that are going to be able to be used immediately upon acquisition of the property. And we hope to develop that complex more in the future into adding some open shelters, playgrounds, other amenities on that property. So we're just very excited to get the property and appreciate your support.
Thank you. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you. President Klein, if I may move to the Housing Committee. I have ordinance 1048-2017 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a contract with Columbus Housing Partnership, doing business as Homeport, to provide housing counseling services, to authorize the expenditure of $120,000 from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. I'd like to ask the Director to speak briefly on this ordinance.
Thank you, Chair Page, President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, members of council. I wanted to speak a little bit on this just because I spend so much time speaking to council about multifamily projects that I think sometimes we lose track of the fact that the city is still doing a lot of work to encourage home buyers. This is a contract with Homeport for us to support their home buyer education program. We have been supporting their home buyer education program for a number of years. This is a significant increase in funding for this. This funding will help provide home buyer education for all home buyers in the city. The vast majority of those new home buyers will be able to receive this training for free if you make more than 200% of area median income, which in normal people terms means about $80,000 a year in your household. You will have to pay a small fee, about $90, to participate in the training, but it's something we think is great. Homeport has seen great success with it. Anyone who's interested in finding out more can call Homeport. Their phone number is 614-221-8889. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Are there any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 1051-2017 to amend the 2016 capital improvement budget to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation between projects within the Development Taxable Bonds Fund, to authorize the Director of Development to provide grant assistance under the Housing Works Program, to authorize the expenditure of $1 million from the Development Taxable Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. And Director.
Thank you, Chair Page, President Tyson, President Pro Tem, or President Klein, President Pro Tem Tyson, members of council. This is the final piece for the gravity project in Franklinton that we've been talking about for several weeks, so I welcome your support.
Thank you. There are no questions or comments. I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
And President Klein, if I may move to rules and reference. Thank you. I have ordinance 1003-2017 to supplement the Columbus City Codes by the enactment of a new chapter 3325 entitled University District Zoning Overlay, to amend existing sections 3118.06 entitled Appeal, 3372.602 entitled Overlay Areas, and 3372.681 entitled North High Street Urban Commercial Overlay, and to repeal existing sections 3372.500 through 3372.599, collectively known as the University Area Planning Overlay, and 3372.691, entitled University Urban Commercial Overlay. I'm co-sponsoring this ordinance with Councilmember Stenziano. We had a public hearing on this about 2 weeks ago, and we had speakers come down from the university area who spoke in favor of this ordinance. This was really something that they worked very closely with one of our planners, Mr. Kevin Wheeler, who's present this evening, and they just want to see continued changes in their community with the support of the city as far as zoning and how we are, doing things, and we are excited about this ordinance. There are no questions and comments. Councilmember Stenziano.
Thank you, Chair Page. Just a quick comment is members of the community said they weren't going to be here because they had a conflict with some planning meetings that they had tonight, but we're very supportive, so appreciate your leadership on this issue.
Thank you. If there are no further questions or comments, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Thank you, and that's all I have, President Klein.
Thank you, Chair Page. Our next committee is the Technology Committee. It's chaired by Councilmember Cinziano. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Klein. Tonight in Technology, bring forward Ordinance 1018-2017 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish purchase orders for the purchase of software, software licenses, professional services, maintenance, and support services and training from 2 Prime AE Group, Incorporated, State of Ohio, state term schedules to authorize the expenditure of $79,941.25 from the Department of Technology, Information Services Operating Fund, and Information Services Bond Fund, and declare an emergency. This latest version of software is being utilized by several city departments. The Department of Technology will also be purchasing indexing software as well as enterprise license to integrate with the city's enterprise GIS system. In addition, it will provide licenses and training to ensure that the department can support and administer the system throughout the city. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
That's all we had in technology. If we can move to utilities. So I have 12 ordinances and utilities, so everyone get comfortable. Tonight in utilities, I begin with Ordinance 0663-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Ullman Schutte Construction for the Mound Street Booster Station Improvements Project and to authorize an expenditure of up to $2,781,900 within the Water General Obligation Bonds Fund for the Division of Water. By completing this project, the Mound Street Booster Station will be rebuilt with new equipment, including pumps, motors, and electrical equipment. This booster station is critical to meet peak demands of the Mound District area of the water distribution system. The project will incorporate measures such as energy efficiency lighting to reduce the energy demand of the facility. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0734-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into an engineering agreement with EMH&T Incorporated for the Blueprint Stormwater Sewer System Assessment West Franklinton Project to transfer $1,019,511.78 within and expend up to $1,019,511.78 from the Storm Sewer Bonds Fund and to amend the 2016 capital improvements budget. This project will help reduce stormwater flooding issues in the neighborhood and create positive outlets for the new green infrastructure and downspouts that will be installed as part of the Blueprint projects, which will reduce neighborhood stormwater flooding issues and create opportunities for the installation of green infrastructure. Again, this work will be occurring in the West Franklinton area. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0784-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Kokosing Industrial Incorporated for the HAP Creamian Water Plant Lime Slacker Replacement Project and to authorize an expenditure up to $2,466,175 within the Water General Obligations Bonds Fund for the Division of Water. So a lime slacker is a machine designed specifically to control the reaction of water with quicklime called lime slacking to produce lime slurry, which is used to soften water and coagulate naturally occurring minerals in water. So you learn a lot as Chair of Utilities. The current lime slacking systems have reached their useful life and need to be replaced. The HAP Creamian Water Plant is an essential and integral component of the Columbus area water supply and treatment infrastructure. An adequate, safe supply of water, as we all know, is essential to economic growth and development throughout the city. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0817-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a professional engineering services agreement with H.R. Gray and Associates Incorporated for the Division of Sewerage and Drainage's professional construction management contract to authorize the transfer of $6,165,333.94 within the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Fund to authorize the expenditure of up to $7,399,879.94 from the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Fund to amend the 2016 capital improvements budget and declare an emergency. This contract provides construction, administration, and management services associated with a multi-project program. This will be a 5-year contract commencing in 2017 and ending with the closeout of the final construction project in 2021. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0864-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with the Ohio Basement Authority for the Blueprint Clintonville Downspout Redirection and Lateral Lining Pilot Project, to authorize the transfer within an expenditure of $1,339,269.51 from the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Bond Fund to amend the 2017 capital improvements budget and to declare an emergency. This project will construct stormwater facilities that will capture and treat runoff generated by infiltration and inflow remediation efforts as part of the City of Columbus's Blueprint Initiative. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Next is ordinance 0871-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with 2K General Company for the 1910 Dublin Road Windows and EIFS Improvements Project, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $2,292,258 within the Water General Obligation Bonds Fund for the Division of Water, and to authorize an amendment to the 2016 capital improvement budget. The Reinhardt Public Utilities Complex exterior insulation system windows are in need of repair and replacement. Improvements to this and the windows are needed to prevent more costly damage to the building shell and interior spaces. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0875-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter a construction administration and construction inspection services agreement with CTL Engineering, Inc. for multiple projects, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $1,047,013.30 within the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Bond Fund, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $129,449.89 within the Electricity General Obligations Bond Fund, to amend the 2016 capital improvements budget and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
We're halfway there, so I'm going to take a sip of water. Thank you, President Klein. Next is ordinance 0878-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with the Elite Excavating Company of Ohio, Incorporated, for the Blueprint Weisheimer Indian Springs Integrated Solutions Improvements Project, to authorize the appropriation and transfer of $1,497,384 from the Sanitary Sewer Reserve Fund to the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,497,384 from this loan fund for the Division of Sewerage and Drainage, and to declare an emergency. This project will capture and treat non-point source stormwater runoff using local contractors in order to improve water quality within the Old Tangi River and other receiving streams. Several public meetings were conducted to incorporate stakeholder input into the project design. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0893-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with K&W Roofing, Incorporated, for the Sewer Maintenance Operations Center Roof Replacement Project Phase 1, to authorize the transfer and expenditure of $1,085,425 within the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Bond Fund, and to amend the 2016 capital improvements budget and to declare an emergency. The work consists of removal of the deck of the existing roofing system, repair or replacement of damaged roof deck, replacement of roofing systems, and installation of a new lighting protection system, and other such work as may be necessary to ensure the building is watertight. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Next is ordinance 09 08-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to pay the State of Ohio Treasurer, Department of Natural Resources for operation and maintenance services and water entitlement costs for withdrawing water from the Alum Creek Reservoir for the Division of Water, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,355,335.07 from the Water Operating Fund. The City of Columbus has an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Natural Resources allowing the Division of Water to withdraw raw water from the Alum Creek Reservoir and to pay the state a prorated share of the operation and maintenance costs. This is an annual expenditure, and the Division of Water has allocated funds for this purpose in the 2017 budget. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
Ordinance 0986-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Kenmore Construction Company for the HAP Creamian Water Plant Sludge Disposal Line Improvements, Part 3 project, to authorize a transfer and expenditure up to $3,220,144.90 within the Water General Obligations Bonds Fund for the Division of Water, to authorize an amendment to the 2016 capital improvements budget, and to declare an emergency. Work on this project consists of various improvements along the HAP Creamian sludge line to improve line performance. Improvements include the removal and/or rehabilitation of air release valves and valves, installation of new sludge force main piping, and other such work as may be necessary to complete the contract. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
One more to go, Councilmember Hardin. One more to go. Last ordinance in the Public Utilities Committee is Ordinance 0990-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Travco Construction Incorporated for the 2017 Mainline Valve Replacements Project, to authorize a transfer and expenditure up to $2,199,164 within the Water General Obligation Bonds Fund for the Division of Water, to authorize an expenditure to the 2016 capital improvements budget, and to declare an emergency. This project is needed to replace broken valves in the distribution system. These valves are typically found broken in the closed position. The replacement valve will improve free fire flows and water quality throughout the system by eliminating these artificial dead ends. The replacement valves will also allow for faster emergency response and minimize the size of shutoffs needed for system maintenance. If there are no questions or comments, I'll move for passage.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
I think that was more than enough for me tonight, President Klein.
Thank you, Councilmember Stenziano. Any other business to come before council? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Hardin, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Klein.
We stand adjourned, and we have two non-agenda speakers, which we will take momentarily.